Pittsburgh Steelers fans, thanks for tapping in for another Wednesday night episode of the Pump Your Brakes podcast on the Steel Curtain Network, the Know It Alls channel. I am one of two right now in this show with the Triple OG, my homie, my friend, my brother from another mother, Triple OG Shannon White. Shannon, what's good, man?
I'm just excited to be here. Uh, we've had a interesting day today. With some of the stuff coming out and some different free agent targets, maybe, and a lot of discussion on draft targets. So a lot of that's been fun.
Yeah, man, you sound like you got some news to break to. I haven't been in my Steeler bag all day. I have some other stuff to do. So, I'm kind of anything you may have heard, you may have known. Let me know as we go along. I want to pull up one of the comments. You had a question directly to you from Mike. Go ahead, Shannon. Read Mike's comment. Mike, thanks for tapping in. Certainly appreciate you being here. Go ahead, Shannon, with Mike's question.
Mike says, I have one question. What if we keep Aaron Rodgers, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson and get rid of Mason Rudolph in a trade for anyone who it may be? I'm not excited about the Aaron Rodgers returning because I guess I'm more accepting a full rebuild. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is where the initial power rankings for next year and where the Steelers set. And I think there's various ways to look at that. I'm afraid if you try to run it back with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have more of what we've been having, near 500 or slightly under maybe this time. Because, it remains to be seen if McCarthy could get out of the Steelers, everything that Tomlin could to keep them above 500. So they might actually fall under. So I would rather, I've said before, I would rather a Will Howard bring in a free agent or trade for another quarterback and then maybe look at a young quarterback in the draft in the middle round. I would be happy with that and just focus on building up this roster and really shooting for the quarterback next year. So I don't really know what you would get for Rudolph at this point. I don't think that he's in high demand. He's a quality backup. That's all he's ever going to be. And if it's not Rodgers, I'd rather go with the guy you're trying to develop like Will Howard.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Shannon. I mean, Mike's question, just as far as my take on that is, I think Mason Rudolph could potentially be out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers comes back. We know they want to at least see what they have in Will Howard. He's probably 10 years younger than Mason, at least a good 7 or 8 years younger. He'll be cheaper. And then if you bring in another guy, whether it be a free agent that can compete, there's a competition in the room, or whether it be you draft somebody, then you're gonna hope Will Howard can beat Mason Rudolph out for the number 2 position, and you go from there. But then next year you still may draft a higher guy in a higher round.
Yeah,
maybe a first round QB next year to compete with Will Howard, and then you got 2 quarterbacks you can kind of see, have an idea of which one could potentially be our future. But yeah, I don't even know if you keep Skylar Thompson. I know all the talk is Aaron Rodgers coming back. We know Will Howard is going to have some kind of role. We don't know what that is yet. But if he beats out not Mason Rudolph, because we know Aaron Rodgers, he made all the talk, maybe like, is he going to play? What's he going to do? Steelers know what he's going to do. Just like last year, they knew what he's going to do. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to play. Now, will he come tell the media and tell KDK, TV, and all them guys that he's coming to play? He may not. But the organization knows Aaron Rodgers is playing. And then when we start OTAs in the first part of mini camp and stuff, we know Aaron Rodgers don't do that. We know he feels comfortable with Mike McCarthy's system. You're going to see Will Howard and Mason Rudolph getting those reps. And that'll be their competition to see. Then that makes Mason Rudolph available in the preseason. If somebody gets injured and somebody needs a backup quarterback, you maybe get a 2027 6th-round pick for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be anything higher than that.
Yeah, nothing higher than that. You 5th round, you're lucky. Somebody really hurt.
and I don't think Skylar Thompson's even on the roster right now.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. I don't think he is. I don't know for sure. He was a practice squad, so I don't think he is, Shannon. I think you might be right.
I think he's somewhere else right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I have no interest in Skylar Thompson. So, yeah.
No, I just think that he is. A lot of guys are preseason darlings, but I don't ever see him being anything consistently in the NFL.
You know why a lot of guys are preseason darlings? They're preseason darlings because preseason defenses are vanilla.
Oh yeah,
That's
why. I mean, I learned my lesson big time.
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. That year, I thought, man, they finally got an offense and they're figuring it out, and he looked just so crisp, and as you say, he was all that vanilla. And when he got into the rocky road of the regular season, it went away.
Right. That was a thing. But yeah, man. So that's far as that goes. So Shannon, real quick, update me on some of the stuff you heard going on today, man. Maybe I heard some of it, maybe I didn't, but let me know something.
Oh, I was just talking about there was a lot of, I wasn't expecting any Steeler news. And of course, there was some good articles about some free agent targets for the Steelers. And if anybody read the same stuff I read, they can bring it up in discussions and we'll discuss it. But we had the whole deal with, I wasn't even going to mention it, but Joey Porter Sr. was on Cam Hayward's podcast, and he decided, one thing about Joey Porter, he was a really good player, and he gave the Steelers a lot through the years, and he kind of opened the door for James Harrison, for Debo to stick his foot in, and he never got it back, and because Debo was a dog, and but he said some things, and some derogatory things, in my opinion. And, I didn't take a lot from it because Joey Porter has never been asked to be a media personality. He's not Joey Porter is an instigator. I mean, you look back at it over his career. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals give away a home playoff game to the Steelers with those stupid penalties because he wanders out on the field during a situation, a timeout, and they got penalties because he was running his yap, and they lost their cool, and that let the Steelers come back and win that playoff game. So, I mean, I never look at him for anything intelligent. The things he said, Ben's on the Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's the reason that a lot of us have witnessed 2 Lombardi trophies as an adult. I mean, I seen him when I was a kid, but it's not the same as getting to enjoy him as an adult. And the last thing that I think that the Steeler franchise needs right now is infighting and bickering. And now, for his credit, I don't know if Ben said anything back, and he might choose not to. But again, if everybody likes you and everybody's a fan of you, you either stand for nothing or you're doing something wrong. Because there's always going to be people in any group that don't like you. And so it's just, everybody has the right to their opinion. And so I thought that a lot of people are making a whole lot of something out of nothing. And I'm really, after the Super Bowl and everything else going on, I'd just like to have my football with a little less drama for a while.
Well, yeah, it's off season, but to take the opposing side of that, I think Joey Porter is unfiltered, and I think he's just one of those people that doesn't put any tact or any discernment into what he says. But I think some of the stuff he said was true. I mean, I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of ex-players, even when they were talking about it on the podcast and tweets, you look at some of the comments, some of the ex-Steelers, they was like, tell the truth, Joey, tell the truth. Like, Ben wasn't always perceived as the best teammate.
Yeah, but did you see who they were? I mean, we're talking about
Mason Rudolph was one of them.
Yeah, and Mike Mitchell, who's one of the only Steeler players I didn't like. I mean, I root for all the Steelers, but he drove me crazy. And then you had Mike Adams. I mean, it was the smorgasbord of nobodies. And we know that Pepsi and Miller, there's a lot of guys that do. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if everybody likes you, you're not standing for anything. You're not doing the. I understand young Ben. I'm talking about being middle of the career on.
Well, Porter,
it's a totally different situation.
In fairness to him, he played with young Ben.
He played with young men.
And Ben was on the radio show throwing people under the bus. Ben blamed AB for an interception in Denver that wasn't on AB, and AB wasn't taking it. Now, there were times throughout the Steeler Mount Rushmore, Steeler great, definitely on the field. But as a teammate, so those are some guys feeling. You'll have guys feeling both kind of ways, is all I'm saying. So Porter,
but again, you could go with early and you could go with late. I choose
what
a man becomes, not where he started out as.
Well, but we didn't want to get the same credit. We don't know what George Pickens will become. He could grow up, but we accuse and point finger at some people when they still young, but we allow some people to grow up. So it can't be both ways.
Well, but some people like Joey Porter never do. So I mean the nobody's ever called him an intellectual. I mean, I've had just as many people.
I don't think Ben was an intellectual.
I ever heard anybody talk bad about Ben. But there's people you get an opinion and you have a right to it and you stick with it. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people refuse to acknowledge when anybody has changed or made changes in their life and are a better person. I mean, I never heard Ben say, I was great, I was wonderful. You know, he admits he had problems. And you know, and he's a you know, he's a changed man, and as a fellow born again Christian, I understand that.
I understand that part too.
Yeah. So I mean, but people, there's funny how some people, as you said about George Pickens, some people want to say, well, you can never change. If George Pickens changes, Tate, I'll say he changed. If he does, I'll admit it. He changed. But now I haven't seen it yet, but maybe we will.
Well, he's 23 still. I mean,
I think he's 24 now.
He may be. Man,
I think he's 24 now.
And maybe when he gets 32, 33, gets married, have a wife and kids, he turns and gives his life to Christ too, and it's all good. But I just think everybody, like you said, is entitled to their opinion. I do think in Pittsburgh, as far as Pittsburgh go, Ben stirs the pot. He stirs stuff up from when he was on his radio show, and even now with his podcast, he does. Not that he can't.
But did you hear what the subject was?
I don't know. I didn't see Cam Hayward's podcast.
It wasn't about, you know, Hayward, you know, trying to feed his family and needing a little more money. And we won't even get into that nonsense. It was about the whole Mike Tomlin thing. And he said, who's been critical of Mike Tomlin, and, you know, that it was the right move to move on. And of course, they mentioned somebody, and they mentioned Ben, said that he thought it was time. And then that's what triggered the whole thing with Porter, that he shouldn't talk about Steeler business. Who is Porter to talk about Steeler business? I know it was Debo, because Debo was critical of Tomlin at different times, even back when he played. But guess what? Porter ain't gonna say nothing about Debo, because Debo will tear his head off. He ain't scared of Ben. So I mean, I'm just saying that Ben had an opinion, and he shared it on the podcast, just like Cam does, just like all of them that have a podcast, just like we do. And I don't think that he ought to be on there running his mouth, because Steelers are usually better than that. But I guess we've kind of lost our way a little bit.
We have, but I mean, I've seen old Steelers come out and say not the iconic Steelers. Like, I haven't seen Mel Blount come and call nobody out, or none of those guys. But yeah, like, you know, even like Ryan Clark and some of the guys that are out there now, they say stuff good and bad. It's divided Steeler Nation, you know, period. I mean, we're fans of different players. We're fans of different ideas with the team. Some people like Mr. Rooney, some people don't. Some people supported Tomlin, some people didn't. Like, but the thing is, we all fans of the Steelers. So
now it's like, you know, you have always stood up for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Tomlin hater in any way. I just said that we needed to go a different direction. But what I'm saying is, You took a stand, and people always talk about that. They say, "Well, Tate, he's a Tomlin
I'm a
apologist.
Tomlin apologist. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves Tomlin." Okay, but here's the thing: I respect people for standing up for what they feel, and they look at everything and make a common sense, rational judgment on something, and they stand with their conviction and their character. I worked for 25 years in mining industry, and I worked in procurement and purchasing, and I had to deal with a lot of sales reps, and they would come in. Now, a really good sales rep will, stand behind their product, will give you the best deals they can, different things like that. But to be a good salesman, they was guys that I called chameleons. And what I mean by that is they would come in front of me and find out I'm a Christian, and they'd be like, "Praise the Lord, I was at church Sunday and all this." And then they go up with the owners and they're talking about what strip club they're going to that night. Now, I would find out about that. Now, as long as they did their job, we were still have business relationship. But I had no respect for that, because if you're going to be who you are, I'd rather you come in and be honest around me, and let's just stick to business, than try to make a fake friendship. You can't really know anybody who's a chameleon. And there's a lot of guys right now that have NFL careers in broadcasting on any of the talk shows or whatever. And what they're great at is being chameleons. And nobody ever has anything bad to say about them. There's a few guys like a Troy Polamalu, somebody like that is just such a good guy, a good person, and real, that people don't feel comfortable even saying anything bad about him. But you'll find that the majority of people who have conviction, have character, and have an opinion will be disliked by somebody.
I agree. I mean, I'm way more interested in how I feel about myself than what others think about me. So
Exactly.
with me, I'm always going to be me. I'm not going to try and blend in with the crowd. Yeah. I'm not going to try and take a side. Oh, I think this while I'm with you, and I think some other one somebody else. I'm just going to speak my truth, whatever my truth is about whatever we're talking about. So with that being said, everybody, thanks for tapping in. Let's see. Man, we got a lot of people in the live chat. We kind of was talking about Steelers news and everything. Let me see if I just can shout some people out real quick, Shannon. We'll take our first break, and we'll come back and talk about ESPN's way too early power rankings. Actually came out directly after the Super Bowl. They ranked all 32 teams, and the Steelers are not in the top 20. We'll talk about where the other AFC North teams are, and talk about some of the other teams. We'll take a brief look at the poll, but really talk about the Steelers and some of the other AFC North teams. But yeah, Mike Hyrack is in the chat. John C. Who else is in here? Vincent Bay, thanks for tapping in. Craig Werlow. Mother of Afton in the building. Thanks for tapping in, Miss Catherine. We certainly appreciate you. Brent Howell. Pittsburgh Toddy. Just trying to go through, sorry everybody out. Vega. Pickens, you big dummy, is here with us. Mark Malone. Okay, I said that everybody else. You guys are really going at it in the chat with each other. We certainly appreciate it. If I miss anybody, thanks for tapping in. My boy 901 always in the building. Reg in the building. Thanks for tapping in, Reg.
Hey, Tate, did you
Big
see
Bob?
That? Mark Cunningham said he just got back from his birthday dinner.
Mark's birthday dinner?
That's what it says.
Does that mean it's his birthday? Does that mean?
I assume so, yes.
Okay, Mark. Happy birthday to you. Do you want me and Shannon to sing you a song? we kind of been doing that. It's our second time on the podcast this week. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, shout out if I missed anybody. Shout out Christine Black and Gold. Thanks for tapping in. There go Mark Cunningham. He late because he got back from his birthday dinner.
Yeah.
Juice in the building. Steelers freak. Yeah, man. Thanks everybody for tapping in. She says, have we talked about We have talked. That's what we just spent our first 15 minutes talking about. Like literally, if you just got here when I started reading the chats, we just finished talking about
yeah.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and take our first break. We'll be right back. We'll get into the power rankings ESPN has. The Steelers haven't had a losing season since 2002, I believe, was the last losing season. Could have been 2003. But over the last 22 years, however that is. And I think they're picking us to be one of those teams this year, but they have for probably the last 5 years too. So
yeah, they have.
I think the Steelers have enough, and McCarthy is a good enough coach. Their 9-8 is probably the floor. So let's take our first break. We'll be right back after this. If you're watching on YouTube, stay with us. We're not going anywhere. We have to hear a few words from our partners and advertisers. And myself and the Triple G will be right back after this.
They're here.
Welcome back.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, thanks for tapping in and joining us again, being here with us on a Wednesday night. Pump Your Brakes podcast. Me and the homie, the Triple G Shannon in the building. Pump your brakes. And don't crash out. Shannon, let's get into what we're here to talk about, man. So ESPN recently came out with their power rankings right after the Super Bowl, which would have been Sunday evening. A lot of people probably started seeing it Monday. Kind of matriculated to me yesterday. And I thought this would be a good thing to talk about because we're always underrated in national media. So just off the top of your head, Shannon, I'm going to go over the rankings. But off the top of your head, knowing what you know from last year, knowing what teams you think are really good, knowing teams you think are really bad, is 21 disrespect or about right, in your opinion, right now without knowing anything for the Steelers?
Well, if I ain't mistaken, isn't that where they're picking this draft?
It is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I if they run it back with Rodgers, now, of course, we don't know. We're hoping that they're able to really nail the draft, free agency, bring in some wide receivers, the strengthen the weak areas from last year. But if you're going back with Rodgers, you're just basically taking a guy who's immobile, that's still going to be immobile. If they strengthen the left side of the line, that might help some, but I don't expect him to be better than he was.
You don't think he can be better with better weapons? I think the sacks went down from where they've been the past 5 years with Rodgers. The interceptions went down with Rodgers. He didn't have weapons, and the line was starting to come together at the end. I have to believe that some of the lack of production was based off a big part of lacking in receiver talent, in weapon talent.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I just think that, some of the defense is I don't expect Watt to improve all of a sudden. I don't know how long until Hayward, finally Father Time catches up. Ramsey needs to be at safety full time, or he needs to be elsewhere. Now, I mean, you can move him around as a
nickel, big nickel.
Yeah, but he still needs to play a lot of safety and not get matched up outside. He's not the same anymore, and they need to greatly improve the speed of the secondary and the wide receiver corps. So, I think it's about right because, again, I think they're going to have to get worse before they get better. And what I mean by that is eventually they're going to have to go with the younger quarterback. They're going to have to. And I don't think they're ever going to spend big in free agency to get one of the coveted guys hitting free agency. Like they didn't even want to spend for Sam Darnold because, I didn't have any faith in Sam Darnold either. I thought the success with the Vikings was because of the coaching and the supporting cast, but he went to Seattle and basically duplicated a lot of what he did in Minnesota. So
I'd I just say Minnesota had Brian Flores defense that year to play really well,
Yeah.
and he had Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers, along with your kid from Pitt. What's his name?
Addison.
Yeah, or Addison.
Yeah.
And they had him. They had good receivers. Hawkins. He had weapons. Then he
Yeah.
goes to Seattle with a really great defense that has Jackson Smith and Jibba and a
Yeah.
nice running game. I mean, so I'm not, we talked about this the other day on Monday. I'm not the biggest believer in Sam Darnold. He did what he needed to do to secure a championship. I think if you put him with the Steelers this year, he wouldn't have been a difference than anything different than what Aaron Rodgers did. Nothing different.
Well, I don't think he would have done as good. No, he had an incredible supporting cast at both of those places. As you say, talented receivers, and he had much better offensive coaching than he would have got in Pittsburgh.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, for Jefferson to be the star he was with Darnold, he was a star before Darnold got there. But and in Jigba, look at what offensive player of the year. You got to give the quarterback some credit because they're the boys getting them the ball. You got to give the offensive coordinator credit and the head coach credit, and the offensive line. Everybody there worked together for a lot of that success. He would not have had that in Pittsburgh. So I just think that eventually they're putting together a quality NFL caliber staff. They're going to have to also have an NFL caliber roster, which hopefully they're going to address this offseason. But I think somewhere along the line, Tate, they're going to have to adopt an NFL modern mentality. And what I mean by that is I think they're already doing it in the draft. I think they try to move around in the draft. They're willing. They still don't want to trade back, but I think sometimes you need to trade back and accumulate more picks for next year. I think they need to have a mentality of when these guys start to get old and we see some slippage, trade them then before the slippage is obvious and you can't get as much out of them. The ever guy to retire only wearing the black and gold is not realistic anymore. So there's a few things, and they're going to, at some point, I believe, have to embrace the word rebuild. It's not a 4-letter word. And it's something that, look at Seattle. They just had to redo everything. Look at New England. There's different ways to get there, but sooner or later, you got to admit to yourself that massive changes are needed.
I don't disagree with you. Think changes are needed. I think it's close to right. So let's look at the. I'm going to just pull up the rankings. I'm going to start from the bottom down. I'm going to be quick with them as we count through them. Let me see here.
And there's a super chat.
Okay. What did I do with my? Okay, here we go.
No, I cannot.
Let me get the super chat. Okay. $10 super chat from Steelheads. Thanks, Steelheads. Certainly appreciate you. Appreciate you tapping in and joining us. He says he keeps seeing posts saying Steelers going to regret letting Tomlin go as if the Rooneys wanted him to be gone. Shaking my head. Everyone who knows anything about the Rooneys know they were not going to fire Tomlin. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was Tomlin's decision to leave. If they were willing to hire Mike McCarthy, they were willing to run it back with Tomlin because it's kind of the same guy. One's on offense, one's on defense. I think it might have been a more of a sign if they went a whole new, young and fresh direction. You say, man, maybe they were happy Tomlin stepped down. You could say maybe they coordinated it to look like, but with the hiring of Mike McCarthy, I think they were. Rooney said he believes the roster's ready to compete. I still think, obviously, he really, really believes that, in spite of what everything Shannon's saying. Like they need to have a coming to Jesus moment and realize this just ain't it. It's going to be bad before it gets good, like Shannon keeps saying. And I think he may be right, as long as you keep putting band-aids on it. But I think I mean, I think they hire one mic for another mic. They switch offense coach for defense coach. They switch one Super Bowl for another Super Bowl. But I mean, yeah, kind of the same thing. We just hope a different voice and maybe with more of a offensive minded head coach.
Yeah.
They won't play so tight and close to the vest like they did with a defensive minded first head coach who always wanted to play it safe. Maybe McCarthy lets the offense cut it loose a little bit, and they'll be able to play out in front, and Patrick Graham can draw stuff up for the defense and let them hunt, and maybe it looks different. So we'll see. But thanks for seeing.
As we've talked before, and to kind of elaborate on your answer, which I agree with, and was still Head's question. I believe that we finally. I thought I seen 1920 staff already, and I think you might have said 23. You heard. For the first time that I can remember, the size of the Steelers NFL coaching staff is NFL relevant. It's consistent with what you see around the league. The game has changed to the point now that there's so much that has to be micromanaged that you have to have a larger staff. And attention to detail and analytics and tendencies and all these things. And the Steelers have been lacking. When they have to install a new system, you need to have new plays each week. You need to have new defensive coverages and get the personnel. Sometimes personnel is going to play more one week than they do the next week. And you got to have a staff capable of getting them up to speed quickly. If you make a pickup or you have to bring in a free agent or bring somebody off the practice squad, you got to have enough guys to get them up to speed in a timely manner. And it was difficult for the small staff that Tomlin was operating under. Now, whether that was Tomlin wanting it that way, whether that was the Roonies being tight with the pocketbook, I don't know. But this staff, I believe, is taking a step forward. And one encouraging thing is that all these new guys, these new hires, have a tendency, a proven history of success by utilizing the talent they got, not trying to make the talent fit their scheme. They are adjusting and are capable of adjusting to what they have to work with. There's a big difference because you can't try to, pound a square peg in a round hole. And then you're waiting until the next draft or free agency to try to rectify that problem. I think this coaching staff appears at the moment to have the capabilities of being more flexible.
So to get back to the rankings, and they gave all season in 3 words for each team. I'm gonna give you the rankings starting from the bottom and read the 3 words what they said about this team's offseason.
No.
Cleveland Browns, number 32. All in on offense. 31, New York Jets. Start over again. Las Vegas Raiders, number 30. Fix the trenches. 29, Miami Dolphins. Time to rebuild. 28, Arizona Cardinals. Reset and reboot. 27, Tennessee Titans. Just add playmakers.
Do you want to discuss each team just really quickly that is under the Steelers? Or do you just want to go with that?
We come back. Let me read through it. We'll get into the AFC North teams. Okay. And then if you anything else you want to bring up. But these teams are under Steelers until we get to 2022. Yeah. Steelers are 21. Everybody's ahead of the Steelers.
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints, 26. Build off 2025. Probably with their quarterback.
Yeah.
New York Giants. Saints were 26. Giants, 25. John Harbaugh's team. 24, Atlanta. Add depth everywhere. 23, Minnesota. QB and leadership. 22, Carolina Panthers. Time to build. 21, Steelers. Not a rebuild. 20, Commanders. rebuild the operation. Colts 19, running it back. 18, Dallas Cowboys, fix the defense. Buccaneers 17, recapture their mojo. 16, Cincinnati Bengals, improve the defense. 15, the Chargers, secure the edge. 14, Baltimore Ravens, all about Lamar. 13, Houston Texans, improve within margins. 12, Kansas City Chiefs, restart the reload. Chicago Bears, number 11, quietish for once. Now we're in the top 10. Green Bay's 10, run it back. Jacksonville 9, pass rush help. Philadelphia 8, unlock the offense. 7 is Detroit, retool offensive line. 6 is San Francisco, the next nucleus. Buffalo's 5, pressure is on. 4 is Denver, find some pop. 3 are the Rams, fix special teams. They did fire their special teams coach.
Yeah.
2 is New England, late round draft picks. And number 1 is the Seattle Seahawks, break the bank. So I think that's because they got to play sniffing Jigba and looks like Devin Witherspoon. Now let's go back to the Steelers, and I'll pull that up. I got the AFC North on a graphic we can pull up on the screen. So the Steelers ranked number 21. ESPN, Brooke Pryor is the Steelers ESPN representative. So 21, I told you what they said about the Steelers, not a rebuild. And what the write-up says, though the Steelers changed from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy head coach, they still don't have clarity on starting quarterback for the 2026 season. But team president CEO Art Rooney II was clear that he doesn't view the offseason as an opportunity to rebuild. Instead, Rooney signaled in his actions and words that he believes his roster is primed to break the drought of playoff success. After McCarthy finishes building his staff, the next priority to fulfilling Rooney's wishes is to identify the next franchise QB, either in the upcoming draft or via bridge QB until the Steelers can secure the signal caller of the future. Brooke Pryor, like I said, ESPN Steelers. So what do you think about that write-up, Shannon? What's your thoughts? And if you want to mention anybody that was mentioned in the rankings that you want to mention, either.
No, I was just going to see if you wanted to share our opinion on each one real quick, like a sentence. And then, if we agreed, not trying to rank them because it's kind of impossible right now. I'm just saying our opinion with where they're at. No, as far as the Steelers, saying, well, they need to identify their next franchise quarterback in this upcoming draft or, in the free agency or what. I'm like, dude, it ain't that easy. Finding a franchise quarterback is one of the hardest things to do in the sports world, period. There is maybe a true franchise quarterback. They might be in the teens, walking the planet at any one time in our life. I mean, there's not that many franchise quarterbacks. There's guys that can be game managers that can start for you, but to be a true franchise quarterback capable of leading a quality roster to a Super Bowl, they're very few and far between. Like, I think Drake May is an excellent young quarterback. Will he ever be a franchise quarterback? Don't know. He didn't look like it Sunday. But again, he had a lot of.
What constitutes a franchise quarterback? Because if the franchise believes in you and you're starting quarterback for the next 10 years and you're the franchise quarterback, how are you identifying franchise quarterback?
I mean, it's different than just being a starting quarterback. It's different than just being a.
To me, if you hold a position for 10 years, then you're that team's franchise quarterback.
Well, see, my definition is different. My definition is you got to be able to win a championship.
Well, everybody can't do that.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. There's not that many guys. Now, some guys never have the team.
So like, Josh Allen's not a franchise quarterback?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think Dan Marino was. But Dan Marino never had the team. But part of that was his problem. Don Shula wanted to build in his image. Don Shula liked hard running. He liked defense. He wanted Marino to be that explosive weapon. But Marino wanted the Super Dupers and Nat Moore and the tight end, and I can't remember all their weapons they had. They had a ton. But he wasn't as concerned about the defense.
Mark Clayton, Mark Duper,
Nat Moore,
Tony Nathan was a running back at the time.
Yeah, I can't think of the tight end now.
Yeah, they had a good tight end.
They had a great offense. I mean, they were, and Marino had the talent. He just didn't have the supporting cast. I think Josh Allen has had that same issue, but he's also had, let's be honest, Buffalo Bills are cursed. The Bills are like the Browns. They're cursed.
They're not like the Browns.
They're cursed. They went to 4 straight. Does anybody realize how hard it is to get to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose them all?
But when you say that, I ask you, how many have the Browns been to?
Yeah, but we've seen the heartbreak that they went through at different times with Binders fumbles and Elway's drive. I mean, what I mean is the Steelers were that way. What changed it? The Immaculate Reception. The Immaculate Reception, people started to believe in Pittsburgh, throughout the organization, throughout the NFL, that this team can win a championship because they finally got some luck. It takes some good fortune. Good fortune, you got to be smart, right, in drafting, especially back in. But you had to have the good fortune that these guys fell to you like they did. Then they all gelled at the same time. They all matured. And Ben was coming in. Terry was coming in late. But he finally, when he got that talent, you've seen what he could be. And it just was the perfect confluence of events. And like I said, they came closer to winning 6 in a row than anybody I ever seen. The Steelers could have literally won 6 in a row, which would be unheard of and will never happen again. So, but I just think that a franchise quarterback we might go years. Now, we might get another solid quarterback. I just want a guy like Jalen Hurts. I want a guy like a Sam Darnold. But what does that take? You have to have that great roster around them. If they are good enough to lead you, make the big plays, the big money plays, and the big money moments, they can win you a championship. But we've seen so many guys get there, and they kind of help carry a team there, and then they're outmatched when they go up against a well-balanced team. And Seattle was the most balanced team in the NFL this year, just like the Eagles were last year.
Yeah. Difference being that you're both right about both of them. Jalen Hurts played really, really good games in both the Super Bowls he was in. He won MVP. I think he had better seasons, even when you counted all his rushing touchdowns and stuff like that, than what Sam Darnold had this year. I think the Eagles had a really good defense. Seattle had a great defense. I mean,
what the Eagles' biggest problem was?
I think the infighting.
A.J. Brown.
Yeah, the infighting. Yeah.
The infighting. What happens with success when you're all striving to win a championship and you're all focused on greatness, team greatness. Then you get there and you get the endorsements and you get the big money contracts and all this stuff happens. And then it's like everybody takes everything personal. It's all about ego. It's about me. And you have guys that ain't so much about team anymore. So I think Jalen Hurts is all about team. But he has some teammates it's not. And they are not overly focused because they're like, we already won a championship, pressure's off. No, you have to stay hungry. When you lose that hunger, that's why there's such a small window that you have to win a championship now.
Yeah, no, I agree. To win a championship, I think after you win it, people lose the focus because you've won one. I mean, I think to continue to win, there's a certain amount of humility and selflessness involved. No one man is bigger than the team. And you have to keep that attitude, that mentality to keep the success. You can't want to be the star among stars, because when you're a good team and you're winning your championship team, you're gonna stand out anyway. You can be guy 52 if you on a 2-3 time Super Bowl winning team. You know who that guy is. So stardom to me comes with winning for champions.
That's one of the hardest things for coaches to deal with, is when that changes. I mean, that's why your staff is so important as well. For Tomlin, he was like a father figure to a lot of these guys who needed one. And he tried. I mean, none of us knew really. I mean, I've heard rumors about Antonio Brown and what it was like trying to deal with him. But I mean, he was one of my favorites. I loved watching him and Ben play together. They were a special connection that we may never see in Pittsburgh again. And it was heartbreaking when all that stuff started to go down. I was a huge Bill fan. And I'm like, listen to your mama. Mama said, sign that contract, get your butt to camp and shut up. But he wouldn't do it. And he regretted it. But we might not see that again. I'm hoping they can find that. But the best bet nowadays is to build this roster and then find you a guy capable of being franchise caliber in the big money moments. And I think you can find that. Now, how many MVPs win the Super Bowl? League MVPs win the Super Bowl. I mean, Jackson has 2 or 3.
2.
I think he's won 2, and then Rodgers won 4. But he only won the Super Bowl, and he kind of owes that to Mendenhall, but we'll leave it at that. But I mean, having the best player at quarterback, it usually doesn't win you the Super Bowl.
I have to discount that Steelers freak, because Ben played well in the Super Bowl against Arizona.
Well, if it wasn't for that one throw, and it was a great throw, they wouldn't have had it. So say what you want. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's so many comments that are made, whether it's Ben, whether it's Tomlin, whether it's, we all have our picks, but there's some comments that are made that just no thought goes into it. They think it comes out the mouth, and they don't think at all. And that's and I think that's what Joey Porter had a moment today. So sometimes you just gotta not say anything. I mean, that goes for Ben too. I'm not gonna let him off the tip. Sometimes he should be quiet too. Yeah, but again, he's got a podcast, and he's on there, and he's sharing an opinion, and because he said what he said.
What's the difference in that and Joey Porter being a guest on a podcast and sharing his opinion?
Well, one, it's not his podcast, and Hayward didn't ask him. Well, tell us about Ben.
I didn't see it. I just wanted to know what you thought.
Yeah, I
didn't see it.
There's things like we had. You would come on and guest on the Steelers Hangover for me Monday. I made a purpose that I wasn't going to talk about the halftime. You mentioned it a little bit. I didn't mention it at all.
I just said I didn't know Bad Bunny, but I'm a fan of him taking his stance. We talked about that earlier, that you can appreciate somebody, whether you agree or not, live in your truth. We just said that.
And there's some things that I think it's worth people hearing my opinion, and there's sometimes that nobody needs to hear it. There ain't no reason to share it. We're here. They come to listen to the Steelers. Let's talk about the Steelers. That's what I'm going to talk about. And I just think that was something that Joey Porter should have done today.
Yeah, I mean, well, Joey Porter's his own man. Ben, we all our own men.
Yeah,
and sometimes we all could use more discretion and more discernment in things we say. I agree. I'm kind of, I used to be, the older I get, the more mellow I get. I used to be like, a hope guy, right? Like, oh, I hope somebody don't do that. And now I used to be a guy. That's how I'm now. Oh, I hope we don't run into no trouble. Now I'm like, I wish somebody would, because I got something to say, right? But I'm not that guy no more. But I definitely used to be that guy. But yeah, man. So let's just go ahead real quick and talk about the other teams, the AFC North, real quick. I pull it up, see where they're ranked. Here we go, right here. What do we think about Ravens being 14? And so really, as it stands, if you go off the rankings, The Ravens would be, if it say 1 through 14 would be the last wild card team.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Bengals are
they
right
can't
outside
because
there.
of this, they'd win the division.
Say it again.
Well, they can't be the wild card because they'd win the division. According
Oh
to
yeah,
that
well yeah, well, according to this, only one team gets in from the AFC North next year too.
Yeah.
With
My thing is, the Steelers. I'm saying it could take a step back before it could get a little worse before it gets better. Especially if they try to roll it back. I don't think it's going to work. But I'm willing to give them a chance to see what happens. They have a history of overachieving, but a lot of that was under Tomlin, obviously. The Ravens, with Harbaugh leaving, and they have some other guys, I think, in the staff that's left, that could be big for them. So whereas if Cincy finds some defense, they have the best offense in the division. So, and they have the best quarterback in the division. So if they find some defense, that could be a real problem for the rest of the division. So I would, if they're not, I would say one's 14, one's 15 or vice versa. And I don't know who I'd put up above that because I think they're both, I don't think there's anybody dominant in the AFC North at all. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. You're muted.
Oh, thanks, man. I think that speaks to what you said about balance, right? We know the Bengals have a great offense. We know they're paying their receivers and Joe Burrow a lot of money.
Yes.
They didn't have defense. If it was just offensive rankings, Bengals might be a top 5 offense, right? In the rankings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With the Ravens, even their 3-word description says it's all about Lamar. What's Lamar Jackson come back and look like next year? I think personally, the coaches, all 3 of the teams changed. And I think even though 3 coaches are out, Stefanski, Tomlin, and Harbaugh out of the division, I think the worst coach of the bunch last year is still in the division, and that's Zach Taylor. I would have ranked Zach Taylor last of all the other coaches that was in the division last year.
Yeah, he would have to be close if he's not. Yeah.
Now, Harbaugh and Tomlin was really better. Stefanski won 2 coaches of the year.
He was the last one in the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So yeah, I guess it's probably about right. I mean, you have to go to that sweet spot, like between the Steelers and the Ravens. Like who's right after the Steelers? Can we make an argument? We know the Steelers are 21. So if we go right back to 21, do we think the Commanders will be better than the Steelers next year?
The Commanders?
The Commanders.
The Commanders, Daniels is so important. If he's healthy, can stay healthy, they can keep him upright. They can be a good team. They're closer to having a established quarterback. I don't like to use the word franchise, but a established quarterback than the Steelers will be if Daniels can be healthy.
If we left it up to you, nobody ever used franchise quarterback. If you got to win one, I mean, I think they have their franchise quarterback.
Well, I think Daniels is definitely got that potential. I mean, he needs the talent around him. I mean, that's for any of them. They ain't been one quarterback that carried a team to the Super Bowl and won it by himself. I mean, they had the roster around him. It took Peyton Manning forever to get one. It's just the way it is.
The Colts are 19, better than the Steelers.
Are they going to roll back with Danny Jones, or what are they going to do?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing great, and then we found out
until they played the Steelers.
Yeah, well, he was injured when he played the Steelers already, and so he was playing with a leg fracture. Not a complete break, but a fracture. He was limited. See, that's the thing about Baltimore was, they kept saying Jackson was hurt, dinged up last year, and that's why he didn't run. But is it that, or is it just all these years and the running and the pounding catching up with him? Because, like I said, he's going to have to learn to be more of a pocket passer. And I thought he did. I mean, let's be honest. In that game, the last game of the year against the Steelers, he made 3 really good passes. I mean, they were spot on, accurate. The one he scrambled a little bit and then he threw it. It was beautiful. I mean, if he can continue to progress, the last 2 years, he's thrown the ball better than he ever has. He's more of a passer than he is running back now. So if he can somehow blend his running ability to extend plays, more like a Mahomes or a Daniels, or not be so reliant on gaining yardage with his legs down the field, they could be better. But again, I think they need to give up on the Henry experiment. Henry is good still, but as he get older, when's he going to hit the wall? But I think that they was times that teams started to take him away, and then they had to lean on him heavy at the end of the year. But they played some bad defense,
and it worked.
But they played some bad run defenses.
3,500 yards in 2 seasons. I'm not giving up on that till I got to see. Oh, okay, it ain't nothing no more. 3,500.
Well, you better have a good backup plan. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I mean, because they can hit the wall just like that. So were the Colts better? The answer to the question: Colts better than the Steelers.
If Jones is healthy, I'd say yeah.
Cowboys 18 better.
Well, I think their defense should be better this year. With a year after moving away from a lot of what they give up, they had, they brought in some talent, but it was like all on the fly, off the cuff. Dax and Lamb and Pickens, they got offense. So, better than the Steelers. I think they're kind of similar. They just have a more established quarterback.
Man, we say this every other week at least about you being on the fence. Tell me, Dallas, Pittsburgh better, Shannon. Just pick one. I'm not gonna hold you to it when next season starts.
Well, like I said, I'm just basing it on what I do know at this point. But I still think that they have a similar makeup right now. But I would have to go with Dallas. I don't have a problem with them being ranked higher.
Tampa Bay 17. So those are the teams from Pittsburgh to Baltimore. Tampa Bay, Dallas, Indianapolis, and the Commanders. All those teams better than the Steelers?
Well, again, I like Tampa. I like Mayfield. I like their young nucleus. I'd say, that they're definitely more established at this point, ready to roll than Pittsburgh is.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I think it's no disrespect. I mean, whether we agree a spot here or there with ESPN's way too early ranking, they're somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't think it's disrespectful, no.
Right. So I might bump them up a bit. I mean, I think they could be better than the Colts. I saw them beat the Colts. Last time they played the Commanders, I saw them beat Jaden Daniels, and that's when he had a good year. Right?
Well, they beat the Patriots, and they could have beat the Seahawks if they could field a freaking kickoff.
Yeah,
but I mean, but I wouldn't compare those teams because those teams were younger, they were deeper. The Steelers could compete with them for a game, but over a season, no, I don't think they was as good.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Mark thinks it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Guess I disagree. I mean, I know Dallas finished like 7-9-1 losing record. Commanders losing record.
Colts, but remember, this doesn't mean that with McCarthy and a legit full-size coaching staff and all this, if the Steelers make a good draft, free agents decisions, maybe move off a couple of these big contracts, they can really have a really solid year. I remember when the Steelers did under Cowher, and it come out of nowhere. And I think it can happen. Something like that can happen. But I just don't think it's going to happen if they roll back with Rodgers. I really don't.
Okay. Well, I think they think that's their best opportunity to win because they don't want to yank off the Band-Aid like we've talked about so many times.
Yeah.
And they're going to run it back, and we'll be forced to go with a young quarterback in 2027. That'll be a thing. Whoever it is, it'll be a different guy than I think they get out of the old quarterback business after this year.
I hope.
Yeah.
I just, you look at the Rams. They brought in Matthew Stafford, who was a veteran, but he was a young veteran. I mean, he was still early 30s. I just don't see these 37, 38, and older. That's not the answer. Definitely not with any longevity.
All right, with that being said, Shannon, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Great show. Anything you want to finish up by saying?
Well, I do want to say to Mark, happy birthday. And I spared you a song because I can't sing a lick, but it comes from the heart. But we love our community and all the SCN and the know-it-alls and all of our fans and members. And we appreciate you. And definitely let us know when it's your birthday, and because we like to celebrate too.
Definitely. And I'll just say this, Shannon. Tell me if I know you'll agree, right? You know why I know you'll agree?
Wow.
My logic is undeniable.
Yes.
That's why. And I did a short earlier for the know-it-alls. You can go check it out about going into 2026. The identified players the Steelers must keep. They're all going to be new contract guys. And that is the draft from 2023.
Take a picture of greatness, relate this to a Rembrandt. I know it all, so listen close, even if I rent bent. I'm here once a week, rain, sleet, or snow, to tell all the facts that you need to know. So listen.
I think the Steelers probably should go ahead and fork over money. To me, the must-keeps of the current roster are Joey Porter Jr., 1. I'd say Herbig, 2, because that's a corner edge rusher, big money positions. So you drafted them. You want to go ahead and invest in those guys. You won't get them at a big discount, but you get them a hometown discount, right? So go ahead and pay those guys their second contract. I think Darnell Washington also. You pay him. And then I'd say Keanu Benton. I mean, I think he's been playing out of position. I don't think you play him at nose tackle, but he's a really good player in the rotation if he's playing the 3 or the 5 technique and the 3-4 defense. So my final thought is some of the players Omar Khan need to get re-signed.
Totally agree.
That being said, for myself, for the Trip OG Shannon, we're about to get out of here. Shannon, go ahead and take us home, man. Woo!
Burning deep inside. From the sticks to the slab, I survive with pride. Ain't no shame in my game, just plain eyes. Dirt road.
Mamba out.
Y'all come back now.